All right, folks, we know the market's on fire, and it's happening in part to changing of the guard, right? Hot upstarts pushing out the old guard, where nowhere is it more prevalent, in fact, in the semiconductors, I think. I mean, NVIDIA, think about that. Up 50% in 17 sessions. It's been simply unstoppable, while Intel, it's just kind of been tripping over itself. You could also add Advanced Micro in there, too. It's done extraordinarily well. The question, though, how do you find these ideas, and when do you pull the trigger? Without a doubt, charts will help you. I'm going to bring in Market Gauge Group's Managing Director, Michelle Snyder. Michelle, I want to start with a few breakouts. Some of these great charts, semiconductors, let's start there, the SMH. It broke out and went parabolic. The volume has been strong. Now, here's the thing. If someone missed that, can they still chase this?
Well, I personally am more of a sell into the parabolic move type of trader, but our aggressive model today, sector rotation, actually bought the leveraged SOXL. And that's obviously very controversial and highly risky, but it does mean that it's planning on seeing much higher prices still in the semiconductor space. So if we interpret that to the SMH, which is what most of us would be looking at, I have a mental stop 285, and if it keeps holding, I don't see any reason why it can't go to 320. And I thought you mentioned a bunch of stocks, but the most heavily weighted stock is actually Taiwan Semiconductors, and that is still so grossly underperforming. So if you really are late to the party and you want to wait for something, you might want to wait for TSM to clear over 120, and then I think we're really going to go to the moon. I love
that. I'm glad you brought that up. And I do have some Taiwan Semiconductor, and it has been lagging, and I do hope it comes back to life instead of chasing. You know what's interesting also, what you said, this parabolic move. We gave up some big-time gains, a big chunk of it right before the show started, starting to re-accelerate here a little bit. So you can see, some folks did sell into that big spike. But if we rally again after that, I can't wait to see what the breath looks like at the close. Speaking of which, let's talk about the Russell 2000 because everyone talked about it. It was sideways for 6 months. It's breaking out. What does it say about the market? What does it say about the economy? Because I've always felt it was a good domestic proxy for the domestic economy.
You're absolutely right. I call it the granddad of the U.S. economy because 2,000 stocks, 99.66% of them are here in the United States. And what's interesting about that one is that AMC is the most heavily weighted stock in that. But yeah, it's definitely reflecting the optimism about growth. So again, defies whatever fear-mongering has been out there. And at this point, I think at 240 would be a key for IWM to hold. Otherwise, we could get into a mean reversion. But that, too, looks like at this point now, people are still getting in, and I would watch that AMC. It reported if it gets through 45, I think that's another one that has blue skies.
AMC to the moon. Hashtag AMC to the moon. Sounds familiar. All right, I want to give you props because you always come on and you give us great stuff, but you said watch transportation. I usually watch the Dow Jones Transportation Index, but you said IYT. That's another one that's worth watching, of course. We broke through that downtrend, which is phenomenal. Now we're getting near a double top. Are we going to break out there?
Well, to me, it's not so much about the transportation in and of itself. We've talked about this, is the relationship to the benchmark, the SPY. And actually, IYT is still outperforming. So I wouldn't worry too much unless that switches about a double top. It's very possible that we can see IYT hold up here and clear over 300 and keep going. This is sort of, we're in this mode right now, and the momentum is great, so I wouldn't fight it.
All right. Michelle, thanks so much. I always appreciate going through these with you. We learn so much, and if people are paying attention, they're also making a lot of money.